Well, 60 years ago, unlimited hydroplane racing debuted on Lake Washington.
Now, for those of us who weren't born yet, or too young to remember, we're presenting some short vignettes, some pieces today to give you an idea of Seafair history.
400,000 people crowded these shores that first day. All we knew was that a Seattle car dealer, Stan Sayers, and a Seattle boat designer named Ted Jones had designed a radical new boat that had gone to Detroit and won a thing called the Gold Cup.
We're at Seattle's magnificent Museum of History and Industry, and this is Seattle in 1950, 60 years ago. Seattle was minor league in almost every regard. Now Detroit, they had their Detroit Lions and their Detroit Tigers baseball team and their Detroit Pistons, and they had the World Championship boat race, the Gold Cup. Well, we went to Detroit and stole their Gold Cup and brought it to Seattle, and this is the vehicle that accomplished it all. 60 years ago, it launched the Slow Motion 4. Totally innovative and 25 miles an hour faster than any previous boat. It held the world's water speed record because it rode on a cushion of air with only the propeller in the rear and then the two sponsons, one on each side, touching the water. And as such, Seattle embraced an exciting new activity, 60 years old today, and thanks to this magnificent piece of plywood, the great Slow Motion 4.
The race then ran from what we then called the Mercer Island Floating Bridge, and there was only one of them at the time, all the way up to Seward Park. The course was 3 miles around. Now the Slow Motion, Slow-Mo 4, and in the next few years joined by its sister, Slow-Mo 5, would start each heat at full speed, and they would come racing under the west side of the floating bridge. Now the people from Detroit screamed that this wasn't fair. But in fact, it was fair. They were coming from their private pits. Those pits were housed in the very building up in Leschi that now holds Daniel's Broiler. There it is. Under those very beams, if you have dinner there, that was the home of the Slow-Mos 4 and 5. But regardless of how they started, we simply loved them. They were unbeatable. And they were the foundation of hydroplane racing here in Seattle on this, its 60th birthday. And happy 60th birthday, Unlimited Hydroplane Racing. Back to you, Steve.
Happy birthday indeed, Pat. Thanks very much. That is our Budweiser Startup Show for 2010.
Next up, we're going to have opening ceremonies and then a day filled with racing, an air show, and a lot more.
And Angela, we'll see you a bit later. Meantime, we'll be back. The 2010 Albert Lee Cup at Seafair rolls on.
Ford's model year-end sales event is here. Time to save on F-Series with 0%